One of the biggest things starting a business is the need to really identify for yourself what the critical issues are. So people generally start a business with an idea of what they can do. They have a clear idea of the expertise they can bring to it. They sometimes launch in a wee bit too fast in the process, but really understanding why is it that you want to be in business. The biggest thing really is the question why. Because there's lots of ways to make money and there could be lots of people doing what you're about to do. So why is it that you are doing this? What's different? What's important to you? What's your space in the world that's going to actually bring something to life through the business you're taking on? It's one of the most critical questions to answer. So a business plan has to be a really practical document. And the best way to think of it is as a roadmap. So you're starting from here, wherever here is. So do you know where you are? Have you defined where you are? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the things that are you facing right now in the marketplace that you're going to play in? And then where do you want to be? And how long is it going to take you to get there? So a good way is actually to look and say, well, say 5 years from now, where is this business going to be? What are we going to be facing at that stage? What will we have achieved at that stage? What's our market penetration during that point? What are the services or the products we're going to bring to the market? And when you know your starting point and your end point, then the business plan becomes a really practical process of, well, let's draw the map to get us from A to B. And of course, there can be plenty of routes to get there. But if you haven't actually decided where you're heading to, chances are you won't know when you've got there, and you may end up finding you're just drifting. You've probably heard the saying, failure to plan is planning to fail. And whilst that's a little bit trite because a lot of people use it, there's quite a lot of truth in that as well. So not uncommonly, particularly when people start in business, they start with a great idea, they start with a great skill, or they start with a great product, and they think that the market will want it. They think that they're going to be able to bring it. Quite commonly, they have a plan that's based upon somebody else, and they think, well, I'll take their idea and I'll tweak it a bit. I'll make myself a bit cheaper, or I'll just have another branch, or instead of doing it in a small shop, I do it in a big shop. But in fact, the real thing here is that if you have not planned what you're going to do, you have no roadmap to follow. And that's one of the commonest areas of failure, is people just launching in on their own to begin with. The business then grows, they get some clients, they end up with more clients than they can cope with themselves, so they drag a member of staff in. They don't know how to employ the best member of staff, what they're looking for. They don't know how to give that person the kind of culture and values that they want to get their business to market. And suddenly, as they get more and more and more and more employees, they find themselves managing staff instead of doing what they originally wanted to do. And at the end of the day, the whole thing can fall apart simply because they haven't planned and they haven't got advice from people who've actually been there and done that before them and can save them from making a lot of mistakes. We all learn from mistakes. Better to learn from someone else's than your own. Now, this is a really good question because it actually assumes in the first place that you're going to try and validate the market. You're going to do some market research. And in all honesty, if you do, you'll probably be 1% of business owners. An awful lot of people launch in because they have an idea, they've got some creative flair, they've had that entrepreneurial moment that says, yes, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it my way. And they know their product, they know their service. But actually, they don't know if the market wants or needs what they're going to provide. And especially when you're going to play in a space where there are a lot of other people already playing there, what is it that's actually really important that you can bring to the market that will give you a point of difference? So when have you done enough market validation? First off, finding a lot of things out that are really practical for you. What are your competitors charging to do what you're going to do? Can you actually make a business out of that? Have you written, therefore, a financial plan to make sure that the income you're going to generate realistically is going to provide you with a profit, not just a job with no income at all, which can commonly happen. But beyond that, it's really about do people want what I'm going to provide? I know I want to do it this way because I think my way is better, but actually, do people want that? Have I tested them out? So really, you've done enough validation when you have a really good body of information, and it doesn't have to be expensive to get. You can get that quite simply through just picking up the phone and ringing people. You can actually use Stats New Zealand for some things. There are some figures around averages within business sectors to find out where the finances should fall and should lie. So you can gather some of that information quite inexpensively, but it's really important to gather some information to make sure that what you're going to do actually is going to turn into a business, not just a lot of time spent in something which ultimately isn't going to make you a profit. So when you're confident that you've got enough, then you've probably got enough to launch. For me, real honesty is a crux issue. You can build a business very fast through, if you like, and pardon the expression, bullshitting your way through. But actually the business doesn't tend to last. So really understand who you are, understand what you've got, understand your point of difference, understand your big why. And by the way, why doesn't mean to make money, because we can make money in lots of different ways. Absolute determination to make it through, stickability, the ability to find a pathway through when everything in you screams, I just want to stop, this is painful. But you know, one of the best ways to do that is actually to make sure you surround yourself with the best possible people that you can. And by that, I don't mean just do what everyone else does. You know, we all, when we start in business, we have a lawyer, we have an accountant, we have a banker. That's the starting point. That's not really your team. They're great, they're necessary, they're involved there. But if you can find someone who's been ahead of you on the trail and blazed it in front of you, that's a really good thing. If you've got friends who've built successful businesses, pump them for all the information you can get. Using a business advisor to actually delve down into things that you don't know, because we all know that there are some things we don't know, and we'll probably get some information or some help to support those. But the things that we don't know, really important to get some support from those too. So surround yourself with the best people, whether they're staff or whether they're external advisors, and enjoy the ride.